time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
And it does on a Thursday, and great to have you with us. Thank you, Chad Erickson. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. We got a lot to do over the next 60 minutes. It's a Thursday, which means we're hanging out with our friend David Aardsma, former big league closer. He's our reliever on the show. Spent some time talking about some baseball. That Jacob Misiorowski, Paul Skeens matchup on Wednesday had the whole sports world talking, and we'll get into that for sure. Sam Yarnell is here on this Thursday. He's excited to talk about Jacob Misiorowski and Paul Skeens as well. Yeah, I know. It was fun. That's a fun day in Major League Baseball when you get that sort of stuff. Because we kind of got screwed last week when it was Skubal and Skeens in a double header. Well, there was like a double header the next day, and they could have had them pitch against each other, and the teams didn't. Like, they had them pitch one game and one pitch the next, and it just everybody was disappointed. Well, at least we were disappointed anyway. I don't think the hitters on the opposing teams were disappointed, but so I want to talk about the draft, Sam. Cooper Flagg goes number one, which we all thought, and frankly, the first 3 or 4 picks of this draft went according to form. What do we have? 8 freshmen to start the draft that go in the first round to start the draft, which is the first time we've ever seen anything like that. And that's the nature of where we are in basketball these days. So I don't really give a second look to something like that. But there's already this, analysis by paralysis as it relates to Cooper Flagg and sort of trying to project what his rookie season looks like and whether or not, he winds up being rookie of the year and all this. And I got to be honest, I think there's a huge red flag here for me. No pun intended. When it comes to the number that's been set at Cooper Flagg being minus 190, Sam. To me, he's not the favorite. And he's not the favorite because of the team he's playing on with the guys he's playing with. And I know Kyrie Irving won't be there until probably midway through the season, if that. But Anthony Davis is going to suck up a lot of that offense. You've still got Klay Thompson there. You've still got a number of guys, that are going to account for the offense on that team. They're going to have to take some time working him in, no matter how talented you think this 18-year-old is. And again, for people that don't know, he is the youngest person to be drafted. He will be the youngest person to play a game in the league since LeBron James. And it's only going to be by like a few days that LeBron has him beat for youngest to start a game in the league, Sam. But I think there's other guys that I would rather, especially from a value standpoint here, that I would rather put my money on when we're talking about Rookie of the Year. Ace Bailey being one. Even Dylan Harper and VJ Edgecombe are guys that I like. Philadelphia last year, a lot of people kind of didn't expect. I don't think a lot of people thought Jared McCain would have been a Rookie of the Year candidate. If Jared McCain doesn't get hurt last year, he's probably your Rookie of the Year. And he goes down with an injury. He was playing really well. Go back and look. Jared McCain was a strong candidate for Rookie of the Year when he goes down with an injury on that Philadelphia team where he's shining. So, I wouldn't poo-poo what VJ Edgecombe's going to be able to do because he's going to be expected to perform. They didn't draft him with the expectation of being a project. They drafted him with an expectation of being able to contribute right away.
But I will say to the same thing, that VJ Edgecombe runs into the same problem that Cooper Flagg runs into.
Why? None of those guys are ever playing.
Is your third or fourth option on that team, right? Like, he's not going to get the ball over Tyrese Maxey. He's not going to get the ball over Joel Embiid. And, beyond that, sorry, I know they just traded away Paul George, but I think that they probably would have given the ball to Paul George over VJ Edgecombe too. So I do think that this is a weird situation in terms of this draft, right? It's a lot of guys who are going to make impacts in terms of rotations, but, I think the Cooper Flagg point is, in a vacuum, a valid one, but this draft is a very weird one, right? Because you look at Ace Bailey, who from an award standpoint is probably in the best position as one of the obviously 5 most talented players on that team, if not 3, if not 1, right? After they make a move to get Lauri Markkanen off of that Jazz team. So Ace Bailey is in a great position to put up 30 shots a night, to score a bunch of points, to have the spotlight on himself. The problem is Ace Bailey just spent 2 weeks telling everybody he didn't want to play for the Utah Jazz, and then the Utah Jazz drafted him. So this whole draft is very, like, Trey Johnson, the second favorite to win this award, is going into a Washington team where, again, like, probably the fourth best option. I'm putting Bilal Coulibaly above him. I'm putting Alex Sarr above him. I'm most likely putting Kaishan George above him. It's a tough rookie class from a perspective of it's really hard to see one outright superstar beyond Cooper Flagg because of the narrative that's behind him coming into this NBA season. And I think that it's a lot of rotationally important guys, but not a lot of, guys who can shine on their own.
No, there's only, I'd only look at 4 or 5 guys that are potential Rookie of the Year candidates that come out of this class. And obviously Cooper Flagg is, gonna get a lot of shine. In the case of Bailey, the other thing I'll say is, look who's coaching. He's got a great coach. He's got a great coach there. And I wouldn't go too deep into the fact that he didn't want to be there. They knew he was going to go somewhere between 3 and 8. Look, he didn't work out for anybody. So I don't know how you gauge where you're going to go when you don't work out for anybody. I think he was hoping to go to Washington is what a lot of the speculation was, because he's an Atlanta kid. He was hoping to wind up in Washington with the Wizards, and I'm sure the Wizards probably would have, well, you would think. No? Maybe?
No. The Wizards, I think the Wizards actually got very, very lucky in this draft. A lot of people had Trey Johnson as a top 5 pick. I think he was odds-wise minus 250, minus 280 to be a top 5 pick, and he falls all the way to the Wizards at 6. I think it's incredible value that the Wizards get out of the best SEC guard last year. So I am totally fine with what the Wizards did going with Trey Johnson at 6. I think you get 2 picks later to Igor Demon, and that's where you get a little bit questionable with the Nets reaching at 10 for a guy from BYU who I saw a lot of people had rated as like the 26th or 27th best prospect in the draft.
That's what happens when you have 5 picks in the first round. Trying to figure out, where do we go next? Would they draft 4 guards? Something like that. It's pretty crazy. A lot of good emotion though last night. A lot of tears. Enjoyed it. Always love watching the NBA draft. Guys living out their dream for one night before they become spoiled NBA players. We're coming back. Lots more to do. David Aardsma talks baseball next. Welcome back to this Thursday edition of Sports Wrap. It's that time of the year. NBA season's over. NHL's done. Means we only have baseball to talk about until the NFL kicks into gear. And a lot of people would say, oh, no. We say, oh, yes. Because we love baseball on this show. That's why we hang out with these guys every Thursday on the show. The great David Aardsma, former MLB reliever, closer, hangs out with us. Sammy Arnell here as well. And I'm here in spirit today. All right, guys, let's talk about Jacob Misiorowski and Paul Skeens, the duel that had everybody around baseball talking yesterday. And Jacob Misiorowski in general just has everybody talking. Boy, how quickly we forget about Paul Skeens, because I watched all the coverage of this game yesterday, and all I'm getting now is Jacob Misiorowski's the next big thing. And everybody, Paul who? Paul who? David Aardsma, what do you see when you watch Jacob Misiorowski here over his first few starts?
This is pretty incredible what he's doing. And him being, 6'7", something like that, and just being tall, lanky, his arms just going everywhere.
Yeah, he's like 52 feet away from home plate by the time he delivers the ball.
That's what I was going to say. His extension is the longest in MLB. It's 7.7 feet, David. You appreciate that metric enough to realize that makes 106 mile an hour or 102 mile an hour fastball look like 106 mile an hour fastball.
I don't doubt he could throw 106 too. It looks like Max Scherzer. You know what? This is the best comp I have seen yet. When I was watching him, I was watching the game, Max Scherzer at 6'7". And the delivery is exactly the same. Max Scherzer gets that incredible reach out towards home plate. It's just that he's a little bigger and it looks a little crazier and it's a little bit harder. It looks like Max Scherzer 2.0 if Max Scherzer actually went and became a 2025 rookie at 21, whatever it is. But you know what? The stuff is electric. Fastball at the top of the zone. That's the very first thing I saw is how it explodes up and through the top of the zone, and then he uses his other pitches off of it. It's not too hard when you're throwing a 92-mile-an-hour slider through the zone either.
What he did in his, not this last start, but the start before, he turned somebody inside out. I don't remember the at-bat. Sam, you probably can remember because you got a better memory than me. He threw something in on a lefty, and it was just, it was like Bugs Bunny swing. I mean, I was, you don't see major league hitters swing that way, and he had somebody swinging like that.
Willie Castro.
Thank you.
Willie Castro.
And I love Willie Castro. Got 3 autographed cards of his. Love Willie.
So does Jacob Misiorowski. He probably enjoys him a lot right now. When you see swings like that, you know, when Paul Skeens hit the scene last year, the difference between him and Jacob Misiorowski is Skeens looks so perfectly refined. He's not just blowing guys away. You don't have an answer for him yet. Jacob Misiorowski doesn't look quite as refined as when Skeens hit the scene.
But he doesn't walk anybody, David.
But he doesn't walk, and that's a beautiful part about it. He's in the zone. All the stuff's coming together. It does look like nobody's figured him out yet, but maybe someday somebody quite will. But this new crop of young starting pitching, they're not hitting Major League Baseball and trying to figure out. They're hitting Major League Baseball and dominating. And that's that's the thing I have never seen. You'll see a player come up and do really well early on, especially pitching. You'll see some guys come up and you're like, man, like Matt Harvey. I was there for Matt Harvey's rookie year, and you watch him hit the scene. You're like, dude, this is different. But it's like pitcher after pitcher after pitcher now are doing that. It's not uncommon for these guys to dominate. And when you have a 102-mile-an-hour fastball in your back pocket for basically the whole first inning, second inning, third inning, all the way to the fifth inning.
19 pitches, I think they said, over 100 yesterday.
And I don't know if we've ever seen a pitcher out throw Paul Skeens with stuff, just pure fastball stuff. And when you look at that list of fastballs and the hardest pitches during the game, and you get like one little blip of Paul Skeens in there, that's news.
Before we get a chime in here from Sam, is there anything you see in his motion? Because I asked you about this when we got to Yamamoto. Is there anything you see in his motion that would concern you? Because I hear the comparisons in his motion to Scherzer, DeGrom. Hello, we've seen. You know, when you watch his motion and you see something similar to DeGrom, and you start to ask yourself, well, we've seen all the arm problems DeGrom has. Should we be worried?
You know, DeGrom's delivery is actually very, very good. I don't think DeGrom's body can hold up with how hard he throws. I don't think his body is built for it. I think Max Scherzer's body is built much differently, and Max Scherzer is able to get through that, and that's why you never really saw Max Scherzer have any arm issues till late into his career. You know, with the Mets, it started a little bit now, and he's 40-something. So I don't mind the Max Scherzer comp, the comp there. The DeGrom comp, obviously, you don't like. To me, I don't really see a whole lot of concerns in the delivery. I haven't watched it enough from the side in slow motion yet. But again, that Max Scherzer comp just screams to me Max Scherzer's done really well. But Max Scherzer's really thick, though. That's the only difference I've seen. Max Scherzer is a lot thicker through his chest, through his shoulders. And that's going to be the interesting thing. I do see a lot of stress on it. It's not this beautiful, nice, fluid, smooth motion, but it's coming at you. It's for sure working.
Yeah, it's gangly. Go ahead, Sam.
But what I will say, David, is that I think the unique thing about Misiorowski with relation to his motion is that he has length that other guys with that dynamic of a motion or of a delivery to the plate didn't have, which can take some of that torque off of the rest of his body. What I will say, though, is that height presents other concerns, right? Look at guys who have been really tall and pitched. Look at Doug Fister, who had a long career in Major League Baseball, but it was injury riddled, right? When you have just that much body to take care of, there's more places for it to falter. I wanted to talk, though, about the Milwaukee Brewers pitching staff, pitching factory that they continue to run, which seems to be the biggest underlying story here to me. Because, yeah, Jacob Misiorowski's awesome, and through 3 starts, he's already accounted for almost 1 entire WAR, which is unheard of. His ERA is 1.13. The numbers are awesome. But go through the rest of that rotation. 2.9, 3.72, 3.68. 2.98. Those are the ERAs of the other 4 starters. The Milwaukee Brewers pitching rotation is back and maybe better than ever, David. What is that team up in Wisconsin doing so effectively in the last 30 seconds with their pitchers?
Just constantly building these guys and doing a great job on the player development. We thought they were completely done. We thought Freddie Peralta was going to be it in that rotation. It was just going to fall apart. But that, man, this is beautiful what they're doing in Milwaukee in a place you would never expect it. Has become, like you said, that factory of player development. But that's how they've sustained the success for the last 10 years. They've been relevant for 10 years. It's just we haven't seen them on that national relevance stage.
There's more pitching stuff to get to. David Aardsma's hanging out with us. Don't go anywhere. There's lots more baseball to talk on this Thursday edition of SportsWrap, and we're talking about it with our friend David Aardsma, former big league reliever, closer. Hangs out with us Thursdays on the show. Talked about Jacob Misiorowski, a little about Paul Skeens. Man, the flavor of the week. It's like Paul Skeens who? I was watching the postgame on MLB Network yesterday before the Yankees and Reds, and I mean they were going. Plesac was losing his mind talking about what Plesac said. Best prospect ever, best pitching prospect he thinks ever in the history. See, there you go.
Wait. He thinks that Misiorowski is the best?
Yes, that he will be.
There's a better pitching prospect that just got called up in Major League Baseball.
No, he's saying on the Brewer. He's saying the Brewers organization.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's saying the Brewers organization. Why? Who are you going to say? Chase Burns?
Chase Burns.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about because he pitched against the Yankees. Was great the first time through the order, and then the Yankees got to him a little bit. What'd you make of what we saw of Chase Burns in his first outing?
Well, that's normal. That's what a major league first outing should be, where you go out and a team starts to figure you out, and then you get them out of the game before you can lose it too bad. Incredible stuff. I actually had the privilege to sit there and watch the first outing. I wasn't expecting to get to watch it, and I got to watch it. Again, these guys hit the ground running with this electric stuff. But it looked a little younger, where Misiorowski looks like it's a lot more condensed and put together and refined, where Burns looked like it was pure stuff. And then, okay, it kind of tailed off a little bit, and that's going to take time to develop and get on a major league schedule and major league pitching against these teams where they're going to adjust and get to you a little bit, and they're going to have to pitch through that. Oh, man, his stuff looks amazing, too. 100, just a nice, easy 100 miles an hour. And he looks like a great pitching prospect. He looks like a guy who's going to be able to put it together as he pitches further and further along his career. And again, you talked about the Brewers creating this kind of factory of pitchers. The Reds are starting to do that too a little bit. Hunter Green there, and now Burns coming through, and they're going to have an electric pitching staff as well. And this is going to be a really interesting place to watch baseball when we got Tito there, and how he's going to be able to handle a young staff, a younger team, and are they going to continue to develop and actually maybe make some moves for some hitters at some point, and instead of just letting these young pitchers carry the team? Are we going to see some of those further moves along when you have an investment in a guy like Tito? Are you going to let that team develop it by itself, or are you going to bring in some guys?
Sam has his deep in thought face on.
Yes.
Go ahead, Sam.
Well, it brings the question to my mind, David, because you said something there that got me thinking, and it's very interesting. Yeah, the Reds have a great pitching staff. When healthy, when everyone gets back, and I mean, maybe we can even take this out as far and extrapolate it into going into next season, where do we rank this pitching staff in the National League between Burns, Green, Lodolo, Martinez? They've got a lot of formidable arms. Are they a top 5 staff in the National League?
Well, Singer. Brady Singer too, that obviously coming in from Kansas City, he's only 4 years removed from being the top pitching prospect, the next brand new pitching prospect. Yeah. Plesac, however Plesac wants to say on the flavor of the week. They have the young pitching staff. They have the pitching staff that would match the Baltimore Orioles. Just put them on the Orioles. Let everybody be basically a year old. You're in the major league service time, and just let them all develop together. This is an incredible staff. But they're going to be facing some tough questions. How do you get the bats to match the staff, right? How do you get those bats, to get at least formidable too in a ballpark that is hitting friendly? When you have young pitchers that are dominating, let them be a hitter friendly ballpark. And then how do you figure out contracts coming up? Because to me, I can't let these guys sit unless I'm going to trade them and become a Rays, the Tampa Bay Rays machine, where I'm trading them every single time they get close, and I keep building. We can't let these guys walk. We have to figure out, are we going to give money? Are we going to bring guys in? Or we just kind of sit at 500 for their whole career? Same question with Pittsburgh. That young pitching staff. Yeah. When are we going to do something? And so it's I hate seeing teams in this position that haven't gone out and signed them up for long term and haven't made the moves to make the team better. Baltimore, where are we going to finally? There's this middle ground, because the Yankees, Dodgers, Mets, Phillies are all looking and going, all right, you haven't signed them. We will. Just come on, get them a couple more years of service time. We'll take them.
The NL Central, has been the epitome of mediocrity for years, and it feels like, David. And right now, you look at it, it's one of the class divisions in baseball. All the way down to the Reds at 42-39. Even if Elly De La Cruz doesn't know the score of a game in extra innings, I mean, the class of baseball right now, outside of maybe the NL West, is that NL Central right now.
Yes, playing great baseball. Obviously, the Cubs are the ones leading the way. The surprise team, and they just keep doing this. And again,
St.
we
Louis.
Already talked about it, but those Brewers.
Oh, I thought you were going to say St. Louis. That's a surprise to me.
The Brewers just rebuilding, just constantly rebuilding, finding players that take in that spot. And now they're bringing up the younger prospects that are able to continue this. The Cardinals, who saw this coming? Again, they had the pieces. But when they finally decided to start playing baseball, it's been 3 years too late, but they finally decided to start playing baseball. And the fun part is, when you have the Cardinals involved in winning baseball games at 44-37, they are a team that will make trades and will make moves, which then force the Reds, maybe a little bit, but the Brewers and the Cubs to make moves. And that's the beautiful part. When the Cardinals are involved in Major League Baseball and winning baseball games, it causes everybody else to stir, because they're a team that's going to be well coached and well positioned to make playoff runs. So when the Cardinals especially are right there, right behind the top two teams, that's the best thing you can ever happen for the Central, because they will push the other teams to make moves.
Yeah. And even the Pirates, after a terrible start, they've basically played 500 baseball since getting off to that miserable start. Yeah. Now they've lost 7 of their last 10. And O'Neal Cruz, much like Elly De La Cruz, having his own issues this past week.
Well, and Pete Crow Armstrong too. So apparently, if
it's
you
an
just
epidemic.
Play up the middle in the NL Central, you don't know how to play defense. You
don't know what the hell's going on in the game. It's an epidemic in baseball. I want to hold you for one more, because I got to ask you something. Based on something that happened last week, and I don't think it's something we've ever asked David Aardsma before, and we're going to ask him. We're going to put him on the spot. We're going to put him on the spot coming up here in just a moment here on Sports Wrap. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to do on this Thursday edition of the show. Thursdays we always do baseball. And that's why David Aardsma is here. We're coming back. All right, one more segment on the baseball with David Aardsma, former big league reliever, closer. Hangs out with us here on Sports Wrap every Thursday to talk about the big leagues. So last week we had this beanball exchange between the Padres and the Dodgers. A couple of questions I want to ask you about that. One, you don't have to give me names. You don't have to give me teams. We want to protect the identities of people. We don't want to break any bro code or baseball code here. Were you ever asked to throw at anybody before?
Yes.
In the majors.
Minors and majors, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
How'd you feel about it?
I wanted to. I like
Really?
it. First time in the minors, I was scared. I was so scared because they asked me to hit somebody, and it happened to be the biggest man ever humanly built. It was like the minor league steroid extra.
Can you
steroid
say who it was?
McGuire. What'd you say?
Can you say who it was?
You're just killing me on the name right now.
Yeah.
It was
well,
if you look it up, 2004 Tacoma Rainiers, Bucky Jacobson.
oh, I remember Bucky Jacobson.
Oh my God! Just like
He's a big
giant,
dude. Yeah.
massive redhead
He played in the
monster up at
majors.
plate.
He eventually played in the majors.
Yes, absolutely. And he was a minor league just home run machine. We had a big brawls. We already had like 3 bench clearers, and then we had our guy got hit like the 5th time in a row, 5 at bats in a row, and I walked in. And the manager said, "Get somebody," and everyone said, "Get somebody," and I said, "Bucky Jacobson," and I said, "Nope," and I struck him out. But then the next batter I got him. Anyways, in the big leagues, David Wright kept getting hit, and David Wright got up and in a couple times, then got hit in the head. And that was like the 3rd time during the game, a ball kind of came in on him, and we were facing the Nationals. And I came in, got through an inning, and then in the dugout, and I said, "Who are we getting?" And our catcher at the time basically said, well, in very colorful language, the first batter. There was another word added in there.
Yeah.
And it happened to be Ian Desmond, and a first pitch right in the middle of the back. The next day, I had a nice, beautiful bottle of rum, $100 bottle of rum sitting in my locker, and a signed jersey. I was very happy about it. But you have to do it. Major League Baseball, there's something you have to establish. This is what happened, what I saw during that game.
You're talking about the Padres. You're talking about Padres Dodgers.
The Padres-Dodgers games. I don't care if you're hitting guys or not hitting guys. When you're establishing that you're pitching in and you don't care if you hit somebody or not, as the opposing team, when somebody's pitching in on your stars, you can't let it happen. You can't be comfortable with hitting guys, even if you're just pitching inside consistently.
Because I didn't think he was trying. The rookie's not trying to hit Tatis in that spot.
I don't think they're trying to hit him.
No.
I don't even think they were. You just can't be comfortable doing that and pitching inside like that, to where if you do hit him, you can't be okay with that, because then you have to go out and do the same thing to them and be okay hitting them. That's what, as a major league pitching staff, you have to establish it's not okay to pitch in to our studs, but that's the game. So you're forcing them to now pitch away. So when they hit Tatis and you go back and get Ohtani, the next at bat, they're not going to want to hit a Tatis again. And they're going to pitch more in the middle of the plate. And then you end up winning that battle that you force them to not be comfortable pitching in. So now they have to pitch over the plate. So when they start pitching in, you have to pitch in harder to get them to pitch back over the plate and let them know you're doing it on purpose. I love it. And that's Major League Baseball. That's what we've missed for years, is pitching like that.
June 30th, 2013. That was the day that you plunked Ian Desmond. The final score of
Sam
that
was quiet
game,
for a reason.
just have to remind all the Met fans out there. 13-2 Washington Nationals. The Washington Nationals on their way to building a dynasty that would eventually culminate in a World Series championship, the likes of which the New York Mets haven't seen for 35 plus years. But regardless, David, I have another question that we've never asked you on the
David
show.
Wright in that 13-2 ball game, right?
One ring is a dynasty? I didn't know that. Okay.
David, I have another question that we've never asked you here on the show. As you know, I caught for a very long time. I caught many pitchers in my day, and many pitchers are caught by many different catchers. Who is your favorite of all time? Every pitcher has a favorite catcher. For some reason or another, he either made great jokes on the mound, he either framed your pitches really well. Who was it, and why were they your favorite?
This is actually a good one.
Jason Varitek. And he gave me confidence in a way I never had before. I had great stuff. I threw 100 miles an hour. I was, hit 102 once with the Cubs. I had the stuff. I had a slider. I had a split out of hell. I just didn't have the confidence to sit there and throw at 96 and trust it and then throw 100 when I wanted to. I tried to throw 100 every pitch and throw it by him every pitch. And he just said, he sat me down almost every day and said, David, you have the best pitching stuff on this entire pitching staff. He goes, and we might win the World Series and you might have the best stuff, but you don't trust it. And then he'd walk away and he'd just tell me, you don't trust it. You don't trust it. And then I finally said, okay, how do I trust this? How do I build this? And I started reaching out to all the other veteran guys, Mike Timlin, Wakefield, Beckett, all these guys. I started telling, what does he mean? And they started teaching me what it meant to trust my stuff. And then I walked out there one outing and we were facing the Cardinals. And I threw like 95 right down the middle, strike one, 96 a little higher. And Veritek just goes like this. He looks at me, he doesn't even give me a sign, just goes and put his glove up and just said, let's go.
Really?
And then it was like 98 by him. And I struck out 3 guys that game. The next game came in, struck out 3 guys, struck out 6 in a row. And after that game, he goes, you trust your stuff. And it was incredible to work with him. And I got to pitch with Yadier Molina 1 game. And that was incredible. That was amazing. And I felt so incredible about my stuff that 1 game. I'm so jealous of every Cardinal that got to play with him.
It's David Aardsma, ladies and gentlemen. It's a good question, Sam.
Thank you.
Better than the sunglasses question. We'll see you next week, David.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome back. Sports Wrap continues on this Thursday. Odds and Ends wraps it up in 10 minutes. More bad news for the WNBA and one team in particular. We'll get to that. Sam Yarnell, somebody else dining out on Tom Brady's success. Todd Licht and Todd Bowles. They are dining out on Tom Brady's success and a Super Bowl championship there. And hey, look, you do that and combine it with some okay years from Baker Mayfield and trips to the playoffs and division titles in a bad division. And what do you get? Contract extensions. I mean, it's great. What a wonderful life. Todd Bowles, who couldn't coach his way out of a paper bag with the Jets, now the toast of the town in Tampa.
Yeah, I think that, let's not undersell the talent
Am I
of
being
Todd
mean?
Bowles.
Am I being mean? Well, I mean, let's face it. I mean, okay, fine, they've gone to the playoffs, but I mean, they're in the terror. I mean, they're the best of a worst in a bad division.
Yeah, I mean, they went 10-7 last year. I think it's hard to poo-poo any 10-win team, even in a 17-game schedule era.
Wow, you're looking way more. You're looking way more.
Say that I don't like the move.
Look, I get continuity. I like continuity. We see way too many organizations that have quick trigger fingers these days. I get it. I'm just not. I don't know if I would be celebrating it as much as maybe some people would. That's all.
Well, he's had 2 coordinators hired as head coaches in the last 3 years or 4 years.
Who'd ever thought we'd talk about a Todd Bowles coaching tree?
It's an organization that they don't breed success. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend they do, but they did produce the entire career of a Hall of Fame, hands down, probably first ballot wide receiver. They've got a formidable defense seemingly year in, year out. They seem to know what to do when it comes to drafting and turning over running backs, which in the year 2025 is the name of the game in the NFL. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are actually not one of the best, but one of the better run franchises in the NFL. They are productive. They come in, they take care of their work. Yeah, they're going to lose a couple of games they shouldn't, but they're also going to win most of the games they should, if not all of them. And they'll always compete for a division. They'll take advantage of being, like you said, in the probably worst division in football, maybe. I don't know, AFC South, gonna give them a hard time with that this year, I think. But I don't know, man. Maybe call me a Bucks fan, but I like them extending Todd Bowles. I like them extending their GM. They've clearly established a culture in Tampa Bay, which is one of those trigger words, right, that we seem to track ourselves to so frequently. And, what's the culture like here? It seems like they got a pretty decent one in Tampa Bay right now.
Okay, fair enough. I want to ask you about award season in the NFL. I know we're a long way away from. I know. It's crazy to talk about. But I wanted to ask you about it because I saw some numbers that popped up yesterday, and they kind of made me go, huh. As I was kind of doing some futures and trying to prognosticate a little bit of what's going to happen next year. What is your level of surprise when you look at just talk about the regular season MVP numbers? Lamar Jackson right now at 5-1, Josh Allen at 6-1, Patrick Mahomes at 6-1, Joe Burrow at 6-1, and then Jaden Daniels at plus 850. And then there's a huge drop off. Justin Herbert is 20-1 is your next pick. What do you make of those numbers right now?
Well, I mean, look at what Brock Purdy did in San Francisco. That makes Jaden Daniels being plus 850 and the fifth favorite to win MVP make a whole lot more sense. Brock Purdy, a guy who came into San Francisco, which was a dynamic offense that needed a guy who could run the quarterback, right? And he did it. And in his third year in the league, maybe it was even his second year in the league, Week 13, Brock Purdy went into a game that it was a primetime game that we all talked about as being the game that would decide the MVP. And he ultimately lost the MVP that year. And that was the end of his MVP discussion. But he was a top 5 odds guy for the majority of the season. And this was as recently as 3 years ago. So when I look at Jaden Daniels coming off of having won Rookie of the Year and quite frankly being, I don't want to discount Brock, but 10 times the quarterback that Brock Purdy is even right now, more experienced than Jaden Daniels. You've got to respect him as the book because he's doing everything that Brock Purdy did in terms of good decision making, playing winning football, making the throws he needs to, being a member of a dynamic offense, and now throw Deebo Samuel in there. There's just another commonality between the two of them. But Jaden Daniels is also 50 times as athletic as Brock Purdy, can manipulate the pocket, right? Can use his legs when he needs to, can run to the extent of Lamar Jackson, right? A rookie rushing quarterback we haven't seen since Lamar Jackson. So I understand the respect being given to Jaden Daniels.
I'm going to tell you something, and I said it last year when we talked about C.J. Stroud before the season started. I said regression to the mean, and in the case of Jaden Daniels, and this is a league where everybody gets smart. I mean, there's so much video, and there's so much homework done, and teams scheme and figure out a way. And once they figure out one way to beat you, then it's up to the quarterback to figure out a way to sort of combat whatever teams come up with. I think there's some regression. Not in a terrible way, but similar to the way C.J. Stroud sort of came back to the pack a little bit in year 2. I think Jaden Daniels comes back to the pack a little bit. He made a lot of crazy gunslinger plays in year 1. Some of those plays may not go the right way for him in year 2. Not saying. Actually, I am just saying. We're coming back. Odds and ends are next. All right, just getting set to put the wraps on this baby for a Thursday. Tomorrow on the show, not even Sam knows this, Patrick McEnroe from London. Help us preview Wimbledon. Looking forward to that. Robert Littal, Black Sports Online, will be here. Tino Patino previewing NASCAR. If he's not too pissed off at me because I forgot to send him a copy of last week's segment. So Tino will hopefully be here. So we got a couple things to remind you about. One, if you have not done so yet, make sure to check out the SportsWrap with Jason Page podcast. It is this show in its audio form. If you're driving into work, looking for something to listen to, you're on the plane, you're on the train, you're on the subway, you're in the shower, you're laying in bed, you want to listen to the show, we are available on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon, you name it, we are on all of them. In addition to over 220 affiliates around the U.S. and Canada where you can watch this show, you can also watch it on Spotify. You can also watch it on our YouTube channel, the SportsWrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. Go and watch SportsWrap there. If you don't have a chance to watch it on television or on one of our streaming platforms that we're on, wherever it may be, go and check out the show. Our YouTube channel, SportsWrap with Jason Page YouTube channel, SportsWrap Shorts are available there as well. And without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends, Sam Yarnell. Another bump in the road for Caitlin Clark. The WNBA's cash cow is going to miss some time dealing with a left groin issue. She's going to miss Thursday night's game against the Los Angeles Sparks. She didn't miss a single game in college or in her first year in the WNBA, and that was coming off a year where she had played college and in the WNBA. She didn't miss a single game. But she just over a week ago came back from a left quad injury. That held her out for 5 games. She's averaging about 18 points a game over 5 games since her return. She had 32 in her first game back against the Liberty. She has struggled with her shot over the last couple of games, though, and only 1 of 23 in her last 3 games. She's averaging 18 points on the season on 39% shooting, 29.5% from 3, 9 assists, 5.6 rebounds. And Sam, you got to think at this point, her shot at winning MVP is pretty much in the dumps, isn't it?
Huh.
Gotta think so.
I feel like in a season where Nafisa Collier has had such a prolific season, you've got, I'm pulling up the odds right now.
Yeah, it's minus 250. Nafisa Collier is minus 250 and Clark is plus 230.
Yeah.
Those are your top 2.
Yeah, so that makes sense. I mean, Nafisa, listen, the thing is, Nafisa has been so good this year, and she has powered her team. So the interesting dynamic here for me with Caitlin is more so what are the Fever going to do? And I thought that I would be more worried
just tread water
about the Fever.
Just tread water.
But 2 weeks ago, Caitlin Clark missed
5 games.
What?
Yeah, 5 games.
Yeah, 3. But the span of time, right? What was that? 2 weeks?
About 2 weeks.
Kind of, sort of. Week and a half. I don't remember. The Fever did not look like they were playing a different brand of basketball as so many teams, especially in the WNBA, do when they don't have their star, right? So as much as I would love to be the guy who sits right here and tells all you nice, wonderful people, oh, Fever cooked, Caitlin Clark's out, I mean, no point in even watching. I don't think it's the case. I think the Fever might be actually one of those teams that are very good at adapting without all that star power. So I'm not worried about the Fever. I don't really think that the MVP, I think Nafisa had the MVP locked up when she continued her incredible span of performance throughout Caitlin's first injury. It was kind of over for me at that point. I think, barring some wildly unforeseen circumstance, it's her award to lose at this point, Jason.
The Lynx 12-2, the Liberty 11-3, Phoenix 11-4. Boy, have the Mercury been good this year. The Dream have been really good too. The addition of Brittany Griner there, obviously paying some dividends. They're 10-5. Golden State, as we mentioned, one of the surprises, along with the Aces at 7-7. The Storm right there. A lot of teams still with a shot to make the postseason in the WNBA. Hey, real quick before we go, the NHL in its new collective bargaining agreement talking about going to 84 games. Sam, do you like it?
I mean, it's the National Hockey
League. No, we don't
League.
like it. We don't need more regular season games in these sports. Nobody cares.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Hockey, contrary to basketball, football, and baseball, hockey players, actually don't make enough money, especially for the, amount of danger associated with their sport relative to other players making way more than them playing a much less dangerous sport. So my hope here and my spin kind of to justify this myself is that I hope it brings in more revenue, drives the cap up, and we see more $10 million a year contracts across the NHL, because we need to.
I just don't need more regular season in any of these sports. If anything, we need less, and we'll never get it in my lifetime, because as long as teams are making all this money.
In every other sport, I agree with you. Not football. But in basketball and baseball, I agree with you. It would help. I think this will be beneficial for hockey.
All right. Well, People are going to games. I don't know if people are watching them on TV, but people are certainly going to games. They don't have any issues as far as attendance is concerned. It's going to do it for us today. Thank you to our friend David Aardsma for stopping by the show. Sam will do it one more time this week. We'll see you tomorrow for that. Robert Littal, Tino Patino, Patrick McEnroe on a busy Friday show. I'm Jason Page. Thanks for watching.